the Havamal, young and alone on a long road. Once I lost my way, which I felt when I found another. Man rejoices in man. A kind word need not cost much. The price of praise can be cheap. With half a loaf and an empty cup, I found myself a friend. 2 wooden stakes stood on the plain. One of them I hung on my clothes. Wrapped in linen, they looked well born, but naked I was nobody. Too early, too many homes I came, too late it seemed to some. The ale was finished, or else unbrewed, the unpopular cannot please. Some would invite me to visit their homes, but none thought I needed a meal, as though I had eaten a whole joint just before with a friend who had 2. The man who stands at a strange threshold should be cautious before he cross it. Glance this way and that. Who knows beforehand what foes may sit awaiting him in the hall? Greetings to the host. The guest has arrived. In which seat shall he sit? Rash is he who at unknown doors relies on his good luck. Fire is needed by the newcomer, whose knees are frozen numb. Meat and clean linen a man needs, who has fared across the foes. Water, too, that he may wash before eating. Handcloth and a hearty welcome. Courteous words, then courteous silence, that he may tell his tale. Who travels widely needs his wits about him. The stupid should stay at home. The ignorant man is often laughed at when he sits at meat with the sage. Of his knowledge a man should never boast. Rather be sparing of speech when to his house a wiser comes. Seldom to those are the silent makes mistakes. Mother wit is everywhere a faithful friend. A guest should be courteous when he comes to the table, and sit in weary silence. His ears attentive, his eyes alert, so he protects himself. Fortune is he who is favoured in his lifetime with praise and words of wisdom. Evil counsel is often given by those of evil heart. Blessed is he who in his own lifetime is awarded praise and wit. For ill counsel is often given by mortal men to each other. Better gear than good sense a traveller cannot carry. Better than riches for a wretched man far from his own home. Better gear than good sense a traveller cannot carry. A more tedious burden than too much drink a traveller cannot carry. Less good than belief would have it is mead for the sons of men. A man knows less the more he drinks, becomes a befuddled fool. I forget is the name men give the heron who hovers over the fast. Fettered I was in his feathers that night when a guest in Gunnlod's court. Drunk, I've got dead drunk, when for Jalnar the wise would with me. Best of the banquet one looks back on after, and I remembers all that happened. Silence become the son of a prince, to be silent but brave in battle. It befits a man to be merry and glad until the day of his death. The coward believed he would live forever if he holds back in the battle, but in old age he shall have no peace. Though spears have spared his limbs, when he meets friends the fool gapes, is shy and sheepish at first, then he sips his mead, and immediately all know what an oaf he is. He who has seen and suffered much, and knows the ways of the world, who has travelled, can tell what spirit governs the men he meets. Drink your mead, but in moderation. Talk sense, or be silent. No man is called discourteously who goes to bed at early hour. A gluttonous man who guzzles away brings sorrow on himself. At the table of the wise he is taunted, often mocked by his bloated belly. The herd knows it's homing time and leaves the grazing ground, but the glutton never knows how much his belly is able to hold. An ill-tempted, unhappy man ridicules all he hears, makes fun of others, refusing always to see the faults in himself. Foolish is he who frets at night and lies awake to worry. A weary man, when morning comes, he finds all as bad as before. The fool thinks that those who laugh at him are all his friends, unaware when sits with wiser men how ill they speak of him. The fool thinks that those who laugh at him are his friends, when he comes to the thing and calls for support. For few spokesmen he finds. The fool who fancies he is full of wisdom while he sits by his hearth at home, quickly finds when questioned by others that he knows nothing at all. The ignorant booby, the best be silent when he moves among other men. No one will know what a nitwit he is until he begins to talk. No one knows less what a nitwit he is than the man who talks too much. To ask well, to answer rightly, are the marks of a wise man. Men must speak of men's deeds. What happens may not be hidden. Wise is he not who is never silent, mouthing meaningless words. A glib tongue that goes on chattering sings to his own harm. A man among friends should not mock another. Many believe the man who is not questioned to know much, and so he escapes their scorn. An early meal a man should take before he visits friends, lest when he gets there he go hungry, afraid to ask for food. The fastest friends may fall out when they sit at the banquet board. It is and shall be a shameful thing when guests quarrel with guests. The wise guest has his way of dealing with those who taunt him at the table. He smiles through the meal, not seeming to hear the twaddle taught by his foes. The tactful guest will take his leave early, not linger long. He starts to think who outstays his welcome in the hall that is not his own. A small hut of one's own is better. A man is his master at home. A couple of goats and a corded roof still are better than begging. A small hut of one's own is better. A man is his master at home. His heart bleeds in the beggar who must ask at each meal for meat. A wayfarer should not walk unarmed, but have his weapons to hand. He knows not when he may need a spear, or what menace meet on the road. No man is so generous he will jib at accepting a gift in return for a gift. No man so rich that it really gives him the pain to be repaired. Once he has won wealth enough, a man should not crave for more. What he saves for friends, foes may take. Hopes are often liars. With presents friends should praise each other. With a shield or a costly coat, mutual giving mates for friendship, so long as life goes woe. A man should be loyal through life to his friends, to them and to the friends of theirs. But never shall a man make offer of friendship to his foes. A man should be loyal through life to his friends, and return gifts for gift. Laugh when they laugh, but with lies repay a foe's foe with lies. If you find a friend you fully trust and wish for his goodwill, exchange thoughts, exchange gifts, go often to his house. If you deal with another you don't trust, but wish for his goodwill, be fair in speech, but false in thought, and give him a lie for a lie. Even with one you ill trust and doubt what he means to do, false words with fair smiles. May you get the gift you desire. To a false friend the footpath winds to his house. Beyond the highway to sure friend there is a shortcut, though he live a long way off. Hotter than fire among false hearts burns friendship for 5 days, but suddenly slackens when the 6th dawns, feeble their friendship then. The generous and bold have their best lives, are seldom beset by cares, but the base man sees boogies everywhere, and the miser pines for presents. The young fir that falls and rots, having neither needles nor bark, so the fate of the friendless man, why should he live long? Little of sandgrain, little of dewdrop, little of the minds of the men. All men are not equal in wisdom, the half-wise are everywhere. It is best for a man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning and clever. The fairest life is led by those who are deft at all they do. It is best for the man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning, clever. No man is able to know his future, so let him sleep in peace. It is best for man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning and clever. The learned man, whose lore is deep, is seldom happy at heart. Brand kindles brand till the burn-out, flame is quickened by flame. One man from another is known by his speech, the simpleton by his silence. Early shall he rise, who is designed on another's land or life. His prey escapes the prone wolf, the sleeper is seldom victorious. Early shall he rise, who rolls few servants, and set to work at once. Much is lost by the late sleeper, wealth is won by the swift. A man should know how many logs and strips of bark from the birch to stock in autumn, that he may have enough wood for his winter fires. Washed and fed, one may fare to the thing, though one's clothes be the worse for wear. No one need be ashamed of his shoe or hose, nor of the horse he owns, although no thoroughbred. As the eagle who comes to the ocean shore sniffs and hangs her head, dumbfounded is he who finds at the thing no supporters to plead his case. It is safe to tell a secret to one, risky to tell it to two. To tell it to three is thoughtless folly, everyone else will know. Often words uttered to another have wheat and ill harvest. Two beat one, the tongue is head's bane, pocket of the fure-hide fists. Moderate at counsel should a man be, not brutal and overbearing. Among the bold and the bully will find others as bold as he. These things are thought the best, fire the sight of the sun, good health, with the gift to keep it, and the life that avoids vice. Not all sick men are utterly wretched, some are blessed with sons, some are friends, some with riches, some with worthy works. The halt can manage a horse, the handless a flock, the deaf be a doughty fighter. To the blind it is better than to burn on a pyre. There is nothing the dead can do. It is always better to be alive. The living can keep a cow. Fire I saw warming in a wealthy man, with a cold corpse at his door. A son is blessings though born late, to a father no longer alive. Stones would seldom stand by the highway if sons did not set them there. He welcomes night who has enough provisions, short are the sails of the ship, dangerous the dark in autumn. The wind may fear within 5 days, and may times in the month. The half-wit does not know the gold makes apes of many men. One is rich, one is poor, there is no blame in that. Cattle die, kindred die. Every man is mortal, but the good name never dies of one who has done woe. Cattle die, kindred die, every man is mortal, but I know one thing that never dies, the glory of a great deed. Fields and flocks, fit young sons, who now carry begging bowls, wealth may vanish in the wink of an eye. Gold is the falsest of friends in the fool who acquires cattle and lands, or wins a woman's love. His wisdom wanes with his waxing pride. He sinks from sense of conceit. Now is answered what you ask of the runes, graven by the gods, made by the All-Father, sent by the powerful sage. It is best for the man to remain silent. For these things give thanks at nightfall, the day gone, guttered torch, a sword tested, the trough of a maid, ice-crossed ale drunk. Who would in wind-time, in fine weather sail, telling the night-time tales to house gills? For too many eyes are opened by day from the ship, expect speed from a shield cover, keenness from a sword, but a kiss from a girl. Drink ale by the hearth, over ice glide, by a stained sword, by a starving mare, to fatten at home and fatten the watchdog. Trust not an acre early sown, nor praise a son too soon. Wherever rules the acre, wit the sun, both are exposed to peril. A snapping bowl, a burning flame, a grinning wolf, a grunting boar, a walker's crow, a rootless tree, a breaking wave, a boiling kettle, a flying arrow, a ebbing tide, a coiled adder, the ice of a night, a bride's bed talk, a broadsword, a bear's play, a prince's children, a witch's welcome, the wit of a slave, the sick calf, a corpse, still flesh, a brother's killer, encountered upon the highway, a house half burns, a racing stallion, what has wretched in a leg are never safe. Let no man trust them. No man should trust a maiden's word, nor what a woman speaks. Spun on the wheel, where women's hearts in the breasts was implanted caprice. To love a woman whose ways are false is like sledding over slippery ice with unshod horses out of control, badly trained, 2 years old, off drifting woodless on the rough sea, or catching a reindeer with a crippled hand on the thralling hillside. Think not to do it. Naked I may speak now, for I know both men are treacherous too. Fairest we speak when falsest we think. Many a maid is deceived. Gallantly shall he speak the gifts, bring who he wishes. For women's love praise the features of their fair girl, who courts woe will conquer. Never reproach another for his love. It happens often enough that beauty ensnares with desire the wise, whilst the foolish remain unmoved. Never reproach the plight of another, for it happens to many men. Strong desires may stupefy heroes, dull the wits of the wise. The mind alone knows what is near the heart, each in his own judge. The worst sickness for a wise man is to crave what he cannot enjoy. So I learned when I sat in the reeds, hoping to have my desire. Lovely was the flesh of that fair girl, but nothing I hoped for happened. I saw her on a bed, Billing's daughter, some white asleep. No greater delight I long for than to lie in her lovely arms. Come, Odin, after nightfall, if you wish for me, a meeting with me, all would be lost if anyone saw upon us and learned that we were lovers. A fire with longing I left her then, deceived by her soft words. I thought my wooing had won the maid that I would have my way. After nightfall I hurried back, but the warriors were all awake. Lights were burning, blazing torches, so false proved the path. Towards daybreak, back I came, the gods were sound asleep. I found then that there the fair woman had tried to bitch to her bed. Many a girl, when one gets to know her, proves to be fickle and false. That treacherous maiden taught me a lesson. The crafty woman covered me with shame. That was all I got from her. Let a man with his crest be glad and merry. Modest a man should be. But talk, woe if he tends to be wise and expect praise from men. Thimble Famby is the fool called, unable to open his mouth. Fruitless my errand, had I been silent when I came to Suttung's court with the spirited words I spoke to my prophet in the hall of the aged giant. Ratty had gnawed a narrow passage, chewed a channel through stone, a path around the roads of the giants. I was like to lose my head. Gunnlod sat me in the golden seat, poured me precious mead. Ah, the reward she had for me for that, for her proud and passionate heart, her brooding, foreboding spirit. What I won from her I have well used. I have waxed in the wisdom since I came back, bringing to Asgard oddly the sacred draught. Hardly would I have come home alive from the garth of the grim troll, had Gunnlod not helped me, the good woman who wrapped her arms around me. The following day the frost giants came, walked into Har's hall to ask for Har's advice. Had Bolverk, they asked, come back to his friends, or had he been slain by Suttung? Odin, they said, swore an oath on his ring. Who from now on will trust him? By fraud, by the feast, by befuddled Suttung, and brought grief to Gunnlod. It is time to sing the seat of the wise, of what at Urd's woe I saw in silence, saw and thought on. Long I listened to men, runes heard spoken, counsels revealed. At Har's hall, in Har's hall, there I heard this. Lodfafnir, listen to my counsel, you will fare well if you follow it. It will help you much if you heed it. Never rise at night unless you need to spy, or to ease yourself in the outhouse. Shun a woman wise in magic, her bed and her embraces. If she casts a spell, you will care no longer to meet and speak with men. Desire no food, desire no pleasure, in sorrow fall asleep. Never seduce another's wife, never make her your mistress. If you must journey to mountains and firths, take food and fodder with you. Never open your heart to an evil man when fortune does not favour you. From an evil man, if you make him your friend, you will never get evil for good. I saw a warrior wounded fatally by the words of an evil woman. Her cunning tongue causes death through what she alleged was a lie. If you know a friend you can fully trust, go often to his house. Grass and brambles grow quickly upon the untrodden track. With a good man it is good to talk. Make him your fast friend, but waste no words on the witless oath, nor sit with a scentless ape. Cherish those near you, never be the first to break with a friend. Cares eats him with who no longer opens his heart to another. An evil man, if you make him your friend, will give you evil for good. A good man, if you make him your friend, will praise you in every place. Affection is mutual when men can open all their hearts to each other. He who words always fair is untrue and not to be trusted. Brandy, no speech with a bad man. Often the better is beaten in a word. Fight by the worse. Be not a cobbler nor a carver of shafts. Expect it to be for yourself. If a shoe fit ill or a shaft be crooked, the maker gets cursed and kicks. If aware that another is wicked, say so. Makes no truce or treaty with foes. Never share in the shameful gotten, but allow yourself what is lawful. Never lift your eyes and look up in battle, lest the heroes enchant you. Who can change warriors suddenly into hogs with a good woman? If you wish to enjoy her words and her goodwill, pledge her fairly, and be faithful to it. Enjoy the good you are given. Be not over weary, but wary enough. First of the foaming gale, second of the woman wed to another, third of the tricks of thieves. Mock not the traveller met on the road, nor maliciously laugh at the guest, scoff not at the guests, nor at the gate chase them, but relieve the lonely and wretched. The sitters in the hall seldom know the kin of the newcomer. The best man is married by folks, the worst is not without worth. Never laugh at the old when they offer counsel. Often their words are wise. From shrivelled skin, from scraggy things that hand among the hides and moves amid the guts, clear words often come. Heavy the beam above the door, hang a horseshoe on it against ill luck, lest it should be suddenly crash and crush your guess. Medicines exist against many evils, earth against drunkenness, oak against costiveness, corn against sorcery, spurned rye against rupture, runes against bales, the moon against feuds, fire against sickness, earth makes harmless the floods. Wounded I hung on the wind-swept gallows for 9 long nights, pierced by a spear, pledged to Odin, offered myself to myself. The wisest know not from whence spring the roots that ancient rued. They gave me no bread, they gave me no mead. I looked down, with a loud cry I took the runes from that tree I fell. 9 lays of power I learned from the famous Bothar, Bestler's father. He poured me a draught of precious mead, mixed with magic Odin, waxed and throve woe. Word from word gave words to me, deed from deed gave deeds to me. Runes you will find and readable staves, very strong staves, very stout staves, staves that Bothar stained, made by mighty powers, craven by the prophetic god. For the gods by Odin, for the elves by Dane, by Davelin too, for the dwarfs by Asvid, for the hateful giants, and some I've carved myself. Thund, before man was made, scratched them, whose rose first fell thereafter. Know how to cut them, know how to read them, know how to stain them, know how to prove them, know how to evoke them, know how to score them, know how to send them, know how to send them. Better not to ask than to overpledge, as a gift that demands a gift. Better not to send than to slay too many. The first charm I know is unknown to rulers or any human kind. Hope it is named, for hope it can given in hours of sorrow and anguish. I know a second that the sons of men must learn who wish to be leeches. I know a third in the thick of battle. If my need be great enough, it will blunt the edges of enemy swords. Their weapons will make no wounds. I know a fourth, it will free me quickly. If foes should bind me fast with strong chains, a chant that makes fetters spring from the feet, bounds burst from the hands. I know a fifth, no flying arrow, aimed to bring harm to men, flies too fast for my fingers to catch it and hold it in mid-air. I know a sixth, it will save me if a man cuts wounds on a sapling's roots. With the intent to harm, it turns a spell. The hater is harmed, not me. If I see the hall ablaze around my benchmates, though not the flames, they shall feel nothing, if I chose to chant the spell. I know an eighth that all are glad of, most useful to men. If hate fester in the heart of a warrior, it will soon calm and cure him. I know a ninth, when I have to shelter my ship on the flood. The wind it calms, the waves it smooths. I put the sea to sleep. I know a tenth, if troublesome ghosts ride the rafters aloft, I can work it so they wander astray, unable to find their forms, unable to find their homes. I know an 11th, when I lead to battle old comrades in arms, I have only to chant it behind my shield, and unwounded they go to war, unwounded they come from war, unscabbarded wherever they are. I know a 12th, if a tree bear man hanged in the halter, I can carve and stain the strong runes that will cause the corpse to speak, reply to whatever